Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow, we are bright and shiny today.
Yeah, we have to do something about that. Let's see there, that looks better, doesn't it?
If I wrinkle my forehead. Anyway, we hope you guys had a great holiday weekend and maybe got to grill out a little bit and spend some family time together. But we are back at it, and this week we're going to be talking about a stone that we've covered in the past, and we're going to kind of talk about this one a little bit more, mainly for the reason that, well, it's this next month's birthstone. So, this week we're going to be talking about Alexandrite, and this is just an awesome, awesome stone. It falls into what we call phenomenal stones, which means that it does something other than display a single color. And yeah, they're really cool. Most people have never seen a natural one. They've seen synthetics, but never seen natural. So we're going to show you some today. And I don't know, did you bring? Yeah, you brought the flashlight. So for those of you that have never heard of Alexandrite before, Alexandrite is what we call a phenomenal color change stone, and by that it means exactly what it sounds like. It changes colors. So yeah, in different lighting it will display different colors, and in this case with Alexandrite it's mainly two distinct colors. It's usually a shade of red or purplish red, I guess you could say, and then a green to bluish green. And the more prominent this color change is, the better we consider the stone. And it's a type of chrysoberyl, and so these are actually pretty durable. They're relatively hard. They've got good durability. They wear real well. But the big thing is with Alexandrite, there's no known source of it. Yeah, there's not just a dedicated mine for this stuff.
And they're looking for something else, and they happen to find some Alexandrite. I guess they get really happy.
Yeah, it's a good day.
Yeah, because it's a rare gemstone. There's not a lot of it, like Colton was talking about. No mine that's basically, you know, you say this is an Alexandrite mine. I don't know that actually exists. Maybe did at one time. What?
You're needed.
Oh.
A little interruption. But anyway, yes, there's no known production of it right now, and so most of it that you see and most of what most jewelers see is actually synthetic, and that's pretty prominent in the jewelry industry right now with anything Alexandrite. So you may see it in some rings, pendants, earrings, even beads. But a lot of times, and I'm going to say 99% of the time, it's actually a synthetic stone. And they've gotten really good at making the synthetic Alexandrite. And so it's, you know, it's pretty easy for them to kind of push it whenever it's a really unique stone like this, because that color change just really grabs people. And with that synthetic stuff, it's very, very prominent color change. So much so that you actually can kind of see both colors in pretty much any light. And I don't believe we've actually got any synthetic up here. Everything that we've got is natural, which is, you know, really unusual. And so what we're going to do is we're going to show you some of these stones. We've got just a handful of these stones here, which, I mean, it's kind of amazing that we've got this many. I would say 95% of the jewelry stores out there have never had a natural Alexandrite in their store, let alone multiples. We've been lucky enough that we've come across them several times, actually, and have been able to really get a hold of some really pretty stones. I think he's got the majority of these over here. Yeah. So I'm going to show you a couple of them here. We've got some that are matched, and then we've got one that is set in a ring. Now the best stuff comes out of Russia, but there hasn't been any production from there in decades. There may be some that trickle out of there here and there, but for the most part, what we're seeing in the industry right now is actually Brazilian stuff. And it does have really good color change. It's usually pretty clean, but it's not as prominent a color change as what the Russian stuff is. Usually that stuff is like an emerald green to a ruby red, whereas the stuff from Brazil on the higher end of theirs is going to be kind of a bluish green to a purplish red. And so it has almost a wine color to maybe more of like a green tourmaline color, not so much emerald. And it's still very, very pretty. Matter of fact, I actually prefer the Brazilian color change Alexandrite over the Russian, but that's just kind of personal preference. If you ask anybody else in the jewelry industry, they're always going to go for that Russian stuff. But I'm going to try and hold these up a little bit here so that you can see them. I'm going to get my little lights ready here, and that way we'll be able to show you our color change. What I may do is see if we can just tilt this down a little bit. There, we're getting close. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to show you the color change here. So on these, you can see that these are pretty green right now, and that may be kind of tough to tell in here. This, again, it's maybe one of those things that is best come into the store to look at. We can maybe post some pictures of these a little bit later to show you the color change on these. And then whenever we get a warmer light, they're going to turn almost a red color. And this will happen in the, basically it's phenomenal chrysoberyl, because there is non-phenomenal chrysoberyl out there, but this type is referred to as Alexandrite. It was actually named after Tsar Alexander whenever it was found, I believe, on his birthday. But I would have to look up and see what year that was. But really, really cool stone. Like we said, the only known stuff is basically by accident that they're coming across this. And yeah, like these are not near as obvious of color change. So these are a little bit poor quality, but still natural Alexandrite. The best one that we've got here is actually set in this ring right here, and this is just a really, really pretty stone. So I'm going to get this light on here. You can see, and it may be, like I said, it may be tough to tell on there, but we've basically got kind of a bluish green color in here. And then when we get our incandescent light on it, it's going to turn more red. This is really what you want. This is a Brazilian stone. This is really what you want in the nicer quality stuff. And actually, you can see it maybe a little bit better just with our reflected light here. But yeah, you get that green with the cooler light, and then when we get our warmer light on here, you get that red. But it's a really fun stone. The drawback with this is being that you know, it is extremely rare, therefore price is pretty high. And that's, you know, obviously not the fun aspect of Alexandrite, but to own one is pretty cool. And I'm going to pull up my book here real quick. We're going to get this resituated. There we go. Hope I'm not making anybody dizzy. But we're going to pull some pictures here so you can see these a little bit better of what to expect from Alexandrite. Okay, so you know, I was talking about when this was found, and actually it was Tsar Alexander II of Russia. It was found in 1830 and named after him. This is actually that dude right there. Yeah, he looks pretty, yeah, looks pretty rough, but anyway, there's some good examples. These are actually all the same stone, so you've got this one and this one are the same stone, and all these kind of correspond to each other, and you can see that color change there. whenever we get into the really, really nice stuff, it's going to be that pretty much like ruby red to emerald green, which is what we see in this piece here. So this isn't two different rings set with two different stones. This is the same stone just under different types of light. And what's causing that is the coloring in Alexandrite it's colored by chromium. And ruby and emerald are both colored by chromium, but the way that they absorb and reflect light is different. And so with Alexandrite, the molecular breakdown of that chromium trace element in there that's giving it its color is slightly different. And that difference in there is what's causing it to absorb and reflect light differently depending on the type of light. So, for instance, with ruby, it's still colored by chromium, but it's absorbing all of the other colors of light and reflecting red, and that's what gives you that red color that you see. With emerald, it does the complete opposite. It is absorbing everything but green and reflecting that back. With Alexandrite, it has basically kind of a modified atomic structure to its chromium that's in there. And so by that happening, it's actually absorbing different parts of the spectrum at in different points of that light. So I know this is kind of hard to explain, but with that incandescent light, it's got more red light to it, or it's a warmer light, and therefore it is reflecting more of the red and absorbing more of the shorter wave, the blue light, the green light. It's absorbing that and reflecting the red. With the cooler light, it is primarily going to be more the blues and greens in that light, and therefore it is reflecting more of that and absorbing the other. And it's kind of weird how that works, but this also happens in color change garnet and color change sapphire. They have that same effect, and they have the same colors that they change back and forth from. So you can have some color change garnet and sapphire that do very much resemble nice Alexandrite in a lot of cases. Usually it's not as drastic of color change, and I wish I had some here to show you guys right now, but I know we've just got a couple of those stones and we've got them packed away. But with Alexandrite, it's just a really cool stone. I definitely encourage you guys to check it out. We have written about this in Inspire Coastable magazine, so you guys can check that out. It was in a past issue, so you may have to kind of hunt for that a little bit, or you can check that out online. And then I was hoping, let me see if I do have another couple of photos here for you. Yeah. Okay, so wanted to show you the synthetic stuff. This stuff is like crazy color change. It goes from this bright green to almost this bright neon pinkish red, and we see that a lot in the synthetic stuff, and it's so prevalent and prominent in there that it doesn't really matter what kind of light you've got, it pretty much shows up. The synthetic Alexandrite is produced in the same way that synthetic sapphire is, and so there's a lot of it out there, but it's pretty easy to spot and pretty easy to differentiate. Basically, unless you are buying from a really trusted and known jeweler, you can pretty much bet that probably what you're being sold is synthetic. So you really need to do your homework on it, and you really need to know who it is that you're buying from to be certain that you're getting natural, because you could be paying, maybe a few $100s to maybe just a couple $1,000s for a synthetic stone, whereas, for instance, the natural one that we've got in this ring that I believe is just around $1.30, this stone just by itself is $16,000. So huge difference between that synthetic and natural, and that's why I say be very cautious whenever you are looking at this stuff and you're looking to buy some, because we've heard of a lot of cases where people were sold what they were told was natural, but actually turned out to be synthetic. So just be cautious whenever you're looking at that stuff. Make sure, like I said, to be buying from a reputable source, and have them explain to you the difference between that natural and synthetic. And it's best even if they have a natural and a synthetic to kind of show you that comparison, so you know what you're looking for and you can be certain that you're getting what you're paying for. So with that, I hope you guys have a great week. If you guys have any other questions or you would like to check these out, please stop by our store here at 4254 South Alameda. We're in the Town and Country Shopping Center here in Corpus Christi, and that's the corner of Everhart and Alameda. Or you can give us a call at 361-991-7565, and also check us out online at suzannes-jewelers.com. Thank you guys, and we will see you next week.